Section 4 is always a note completion, on both the paper and computer-based tests. If you're lucky, the notes will have subheadings. These are great because they give you something to listen for, in other words they are wonderful signposts. For example, from Cambridge 13, Test 3 you can see that there are many subheadings. Listen to the audio, the subheading will be circled as they are mentioned.
Beginning of a new phenomenon, consumerism, where buying and selling goods became a major part of ordinary people's lives. In fact, it was in the 19th century that the quantity and quality of people's possessions was used as an indication of the wealth of the country. Before this, the vast majority of people had very few possessions, but all that was changed by the Industrial Revolution. This was the era from the mid-18th to the late 19th century, when improvements in how goods were made, as well as in technology, triggered massive social changes that transformed life for just about everybody in several key areas. First, let's look at manufacturing. When it comes to manufacturing, we tend to think of the Industrial Revolution in images of steam engines and coal. And it's true that the Industrial Revolution couldn't have taken place at all if it weren't for these new sources of power. They marked an important shift away from the traditional watermills and windmills that had dominated before this.
As with most listening, the first section is used to get you orientated and tell you about what you will be listening to, just like in any academic lecture or talk. Then they get into the part where the answers are. Luckily, we have a subheading to alert us to this. So, once you hear 19th century, you know to pay attention. Let's do the first two questions. As you know, the first thing to do is underline the keywords during the time you are given to look at the questions, or make a note of them if you are doing the computer-based test. While underlining, think of synonyms or paraphrases that might be used for these words. For example, measure could also be indicate or calculate or gauge. Once the audio starts, follow the questions with your pencil or cursor as you listen for these keywords. It will help you to focus and also help stop your mind wandering. If you think you've heard an answer, write it down immediately. You can cross it out or replace it if you then change your mind. Then go back to following the audio with your pencil or cursor. Repeat until all the questions are answered. Here is the transcript, with the keywords underlined and the answers in bold. Let's take a look at the vocabulary used in the transcript. For question 31, the same words were used for the first keywords, people's possessions, but measure was replaced with indication. For question 32, all keywords were paraphrased, developments became improvements, production was called, how goods were made, and changed lives turned into transformed life. Remember that you are usually listening for paraphrases or synonyms. If you listen only for the exact words that are in the question, you won't be able to hear the answers. You'll notice that for these questions the answers are in the same position in the transcript that they are in the question. So, the answer to 31, wealth, comes at the end of the sentence. However, for 32, the answer, technology, is in the middle, between the key phrases, just as it is in the question. This helps you to know when to really listen. Remember, the subheadings are signposts. They tell you where you are in the audio. Use them to stay orientated or to find your place if you get lost. Thank you for watching. Click on the link below to practice listening section 4.